At 3:42 a.m., my phone lit up with a message from my wife, Naomi. Stop being insecure. I stared at those words because I hadn't accused her of anything. She had told me she was staying at a hotel after a late company event and would return the next morning. Earlier, she'd stopped answering my calls, but I hadn't confronted her. Then I noticed something strange on our shared location app. Naomi's phone wasn't at the hotel she had mentioned. It was several miles away at another hotel. I took a screenshot, sent it to her, and wrote only, "Explain this." 11 minutes later, headlights appeared outside our house. Naomi rushed through the front door looking terrified. She dropped her handbag onto the floor and immediately asked, "Where did you get that location?" I told her we had shared locations for emergencies. She knew that, but her expression showed she hadn't expected me to check. I asked why she had been at a different hotel. She said she had gone there to meet someone from work. I asked who. She hesitated. Then she whispered, "Elliot." I knew that name. Elliot was the colleague she had repeatedly insisted was just a friend. Naomi sat at the kitchen table and started crying. She said Elliot had been having problems with his marriage and had asked her to meet him because he needed advice. I asked why they couldn't meet somewhere public. She said she had made a terrible decision and didn't think I would understand. I looked at her and said, "You didn't trust me enough to tell me the truth." She immediately denied that anything romantic had happened. I didn't accuse her of sleeping with him. I simply asked why she had lied about the hotel. She couldn't answer, and that silence made everything feel worse. Then Naomi told me something unexpected. Elliot's wife, Rachel, had discovered messages between them and had threatened to confront him at the hotel. Naomi said she went there because Elliot begged her to help explain that their relationship was only professional. I asked why she had deleted some messages from her phone. She admitted she had panicked because some of their conversations sounded inappropriate, even though she claimed nothing physical happened. I told her that deleting messages was exactly why I couldn't simply believe her. She looked at me through tears and said, "I know. I made myself look guilty." I opened my laptop and showed her an email I'd received earlier that night from Rachel. It contained screenshots of messages between Naomi and Elliot. Rachel had asked whether I knew about their late-night meetings. Naomi covered her face when she saw them. The messages weren't explicit, but they were undeniably intimate. Elliot had told Naomi that she was the only person who understood him. Naomi had replied that she wished they could spend more time together. I asked her whether she considered that cheating. She cried and whispered, "I don't know." I answered, "You knew enough to hide it." Naomi begged me not to end our marriage. She said she had never intended to replace me and had become emotionally dependent on Elliot during a difficult period in our relationship. I asked why she didn't come to me. She said she felt I was always busy and emotionally unavailable. That admission hurt because I knew there was truth in it. I had spent the past year working long hours and assuming Naomi would tell me if she needed something. But I also told her that loneliness didn't justify secrecy. We had both failed in different ways, but only one of us had created a hidden relationship. The next morning, Naomi called Elliot and ended their friendship completely. She told him that whatever emotional connection had developed between them was inappropriate and had damaged her marriage. Elliot tried to argue that they had never crossed a physical line. Naomi replied, "The line wasn't only physical." I watched silently as she ended the call. Afterward, she placed her phone on the table and said, "I'm willing to answer anything you need to know." I told her I didn't want endless interrogation. I wanted consistent honesty. She nodded. For the first time that night, I believe she genuinely understood what I needed. We spent the following weeks in counseling. Naomi admitted that she had enjoyed Elliot's attention because it made her feel understood. I admitted that I had stopped paying attention to what she was trying to tell me. But counseling also revealed that we had allowed small resentments to become a wall between us. We began rebuilding our communication from scratch. Naomi became transparent about her work relationships, and I started making time for our marriage instead of assuming love could survive neglect. It wasn't easy. Some days I still questioned everything. But slowly, her actions began matching her promises. 3 months later, Rachel contacted me again. She told me Elliot had admitted that he had intentionally encouraged Naomi's emotional dependence because he wanted her to leave me. She had discovered additional messages proving he had been manipulating both women. Naomi was devastated when she learned this. I was angry, but I also realized something important. Elliot had exploited weaknesses that already existed in our marriage. He didn't create every problem. We had created some ourselves through silence. We couldn't blame him for everything. We had to take responsibility for our own choices if we wanted our marriage to survive. A year later, I still remember that message at 3:42 a.m. Stop being insecure. It had sounded dismissive then, but it became the beginning of a painful truth. The screenshot I sent didn't expose an affair in the way I initially feared. It exposed something more complicated. Two people who had allowed secrecy, loneliness, and emotional distance to grow between them. Naomi and I eventually rebuilt our marriage because she took responsibility and I learned to listen before resentment became suspicion. We never forgot that night, but we stopped allowing it to control our future. Sometimes one screenshot doesn't destroy trust. Sometimes it forces two people to finally rebuild it.